Hell in a Cell 2022 is this Sunday evening, which means only one thing here on SCW. It is predictions time. Myself and Jonesy Chats Wrestling will be giving you our top picks for Hell in a Cell this Sunday. But first, before we can give you our predictions, you need a match card. So without further ado, here it is. So welcome back to the show then. As you see, we've got 6 matches at this house. Jonesy, how are you doing?
Very well. Thank you for having me back on your channel, Steve. It's great to be back. It seems like it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, but as we say, it's predictions time once again. So obviously, we've got another WWE Premium Live event on the way there. And obviously, technically, we could say Raw in a Cell. They're all Raw matches at this point. No SmackDown matches on the card. What are you feeling at this particular moment? Are you hyped for the show?
I think from a perspective of like an in-ring quality, I think the pay-per-view will be all right. It feels very deja vu for me. So we seem to be getting a lot of rematches, unfortunately, on this show. But I hope it'll be all right. I think the main event has got potential. And yeah, I just think it's just it doesn't really fill me with excitement, this pay-per-view. It seems to be very thrown together. They've been quite lazy, unfortunately.
I mean, for me, I would say I can understand your point of view. This does feel like probably the least important show of the year at this point. But what I would say as well at the same time is that some of the feuds have been going since straight after WrestleMania. So I feel like we have had some time put into a lot of the stories that we've got. I mean, for example, I'm enjoying Ezekiel and Kevin Owens far more than I have any right to. I have a feeling it's a bit like 2012, actually. It's kind of like a decade before because Cody came back, kind of like almost when Brock came the night after Mania. Of course, it's not the same fully stature, but I think they're going to push Cody as that top guy. Ezekiel's kind of like the Tensai 10 years ago, kind of a repackaged superstar in there. And obviously, of course, you go across the other to another company. CM Punk is a world champion. So I've kind of got those 2012 vibes going at the moment, but I don't know if people will like that or not, but certainly would like to know people's predictions today. So get involved in the chat as we go through match by match as well. And yeah, we look forward to seeing your thoughts. Noob and Co in the house here says hello, Stephen Jonesy. Thank you, Noob, for checking out the stream. Hope you are doing well. So without further ado, Jonesy, we just touched on the fact as well that there's no SmackDown matches on this show at this particular point. But you said off air that you think there could be 1 or 2 that could be last minute add-ons. Yeah,
I'd expect to see Raquel and Ronda Rousey for the women's title. They've got a Ronda on this show to a certain point, and I could see them slotting Drew somewhere on this. Like, it's a pay-per-view. Drew's very on the up at the moment. He's going to be on the up in the coming months, so he needs to have a spot on this pay-per-view, really.
It'd be interesting if that is the scenario. Obviously, Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin could be another one as well because Moss is returning, isn't he? I mean, if those, just quickly go through those very quickly, just like one-word answers. Obviously, would you expect Ronda Rousey would retain if that was the case?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I've got one other match as well, Steve. Sorry, as well. Would be Gunther and Ricochet for the Continental title, but I think they might put themselves in the corner unless it's a DQ finish, unless they want to switch the belt to Gunther, because Gunther should win it, really.
I did miss that a little bit, but I'm guessing you went with Gunther and Ricochet for the IC title.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, I could definitely see that would be a scenario that Gunther would win that championship if and when that match does come about. But yeah, it'd be interesting. And obviously, if they have Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin, would Moss get the victory again?
He's got to, hasn't he, to be fair? Like, Happy Corbin, I thought he was leaving to go away. But yeah, Madcap Moss has to win. This is his big return, so I hope he does win if he comes back.
We'll have to see how it'll play out. But that's rumoring the SmackDown side. We're recording this before SmackDown, so if they do have any add-ons, we'll do an extra video later in the day for you. But we've got 6 Raw matches we're going to go into. But first, I'm going to say a big hello to Ed Fries in the house. Says, this looks like a fun show. The Seth versus Cody match will be great. Judgment Day versus AJ, Finn, and Liv will be great. Plus the Raw Women's Championship match. And yeah, I agree. Those 3 are very exciting indeed. And speaking of that Raw Women's Championship match, it is going to be the first one we are going to discuss. Bianca Belair defending in the triple threat match her Raw Women's Championship against Asuka and Becky Lynch. Now, it's very easy to get in conversation about Sasha and Naomi because, of course, that was the original plans that Naomi was supposed to be in this match. And obviously, WWE had to call an audible. We're not going to go into Sasha and Naomi in any detail, really, because it's been covered far so much with hours of content already on this channel. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what we had as the here and now. So Becky Lynch obviously suggested the idea of her and Asuka, the winner opportunity, a Hell in a Cell, which Bianca Belair then ended up sitting at ringside. I believe Asuka won that match the first time round. Then they did a rematch. Becky Lynch managed to weasel her way in and get added to the match. So we've got a triple threat match. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I think it's got potential to be one, if not the match of the night. And honestly, sometimes things have a funny way of working out. I think this match could be an absolute spectacle. Are you hyped for this match?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think from a perspective, it's great to see all three women in this match. I think they've done a great job over the past month of really bringing back Asuka and reintroducing her into the fold. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a really, really good sort of women's match by all counts. I think Bianca Belair, to be fair, this could be one of her biggest tests to date. And I think I like what they've done with Asuka and Becky Lynch. I like the throwbacks to when, obviously, Becky gave the belt away and stuff. I think it's been done really, really well.
Yeah, it's been a great story with Asuka and Becky Lynch. I've really enjoyed it personally. And I love the idea of how, Becky Lynch is just losing her mind. The more she's losing matches, the more she's not quite getting her way. We're just seeing this different side of Becky Lynch. And I'm quite enjoying it and hoping that's going to continue out the pay-per-view. There's kind of two ways that this can go down. Obviously, we could take the Raw Women's Championship from it into the Asuka-Becky feud, or they both cancel each other out and Bianca Belair will retain the championship. How do you see it going down?
Yeah, I think Bianca's going to retain. I think it's far too soon for her to drop the belt here. Asuka and Becky will cancel each other out. And for me, Becky, I think they don't want to give her the belt again. I think if they put the belt on her this soon, it'd be a big mistake. I think she will get the belt back eventually, but this isn't the place for me.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Bianca Belair is going to retain the Raw Women's Championship so early into this reign as champion. She's worked so hard to get to that position. It would seem a bit of a throwaway for her to lose the championship at this stage. I think Asuka and Becky Lynch are heading into Money in the Bank. I think that match will be great to have both of them in the ladder match, and then they can sort of blow off their feud at SummerSlam, if I had to predict now. And obviously with Bianca Belair, perhaps you can move on to other challengers. Maybe someone like an Alexa Bliss could be one that she could go heading into SummerSlam. So it's 2 here for us for Bianca Belair. We'll go into the chat and see what everyone's got to say. West Coast Podcast, easy for me to say. Zach's in the house. Hope you're doing well. Zach says, great to see you guys. Keep Moss and Corbin off my TV. So there's an excuse not to watch SmackDown for Zach's tomorrow evening. But I do know he will do a live stream of Rampage. So make sure to go and join him for that. As well as that, Martin Career is in the house, says, what's up, guys? How are you both doing? We are doing very well. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for checking that stream. Look forward to learning your predictions in the show. But yeah, we've pretty much wrapped up there the Raw Women's Championship of what
Can I have one
think.
more thing on that Raw Women's Championship? Sorry, Steve.
You can indeed.
Bit of fantasy booking. So when Bianca retains, I'd love the lights to go out and then Bayley comes back and then that's a match for Money in the Bank. I think that could be something fun. I don't know if they'll do that, but I'd like to see that, me personally. I think Bayley needs to come back. This is the time probably to do it. Really?
She really does need to come back. I personally want to see her back on my screen. I think she'd be at SmackDown at the moment, but Bianca and Bayley have unfinished business. So for me personally, if that was the direction, I would be all for it. I would love to see it personally. So yeah, it's a great suggestion there from Jonesy. And quickly, just before we move on to our next match, Noob saying that Bianca is to retain, but I think Asuka's current character is starting to get overhated since 2019. Well, I mean, I can't say I know what all the Twitter fans for Asuka are saying at the particular moment, but I'm enjoying the feud with Becky Lynch.
I think it's fun. It's a great throwback feud. I think the trouble they're going to have with it, I think the fans are going to cheer Becky over Asuka, unfortunately. But it's great from an in-ring perspective, I think.
It is interesting indeed. We've got another question coming as well from Martin here, who does ask, if Styles, Balor and Liv win on Sunday, do you guys see Liv challenging Bianca at Money in the Bank? And he's also got Bianca retaining. Now, that would be a fun match to see.
No, I don't think Liv will do it. I don't think they want to put, like, Bianca against like another babyface. I think more likely you'll get Rhea out of the two, out of her and Liv that's going to challenge next.
Interesting stuff in there. I'm going to give you a hint of where I think it's going. I'm also going to add Liv and Rhea to the Raw side of the Money in the Bank ladder match. So what it does for Bianca, I'm not sure, but that would be my lineup of the 4 from the Raw side. SmackDown, anybody's guess. I've got not a clue because there's got hardly any women on that side of the roster that's certainly making moves at this particular stage. But we're going to move on to our next match. And funny enough, you mentioned that 6-person tag team match because we're going to talk about next. That's right. We've got Judgment Day of Edge, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley going against AJ Styles, Finn Balor and Liv Morgan. So obviously Judgment Day has been growing in numbers. Obviously Rhea Ripley joined obviously at the last Premium Live event, which of course was the WrestleMania Backlash show, of course. And of course, since then, Liv Morgan's got in on the act and now she's joined up with AJ Styles and Finn Balor. And again, it's another feud that I'm enjoying play out. Lots of people getting TV time, people that weren't necessarily doing much before this all started. I think it's ticking a lot of boxes for me.
I think it's been well built. I think it gets a lot of people airtime, as you said, and it really feels like a big 6-person match for me. I think it's great. Looking forward to seeing what they do, and yeah, I think it's got some great elements. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Edge and Finn Balor interact. I think that could be something fun to see. That's a bit new.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, the one thing that I scream from seeing this 6 mix tag team match that we've got is I don't believe that this is where it's going to end, because I feel if it had been the ending spot, I would have loved to have seen it in Hell in a Cell. I'm not sure that they would have played that out with obviously the both men and women being in the cell at the same time, but I think it could have been interesting as well. I don't think it's ever been done before.
Yeah, no, I think that could have been interesting. It'd be a bit like a War Games match, wouldn't it? Then it'd be kind of similar to a War Games. Yeah, it could have been really interesting, Steve. That's for sure.
Well, the big question I'm going to ask you, because I kind of half think there's a potential of it, and it may sway your prediction of what way we're going to go. Edge has been teasing this idea of a 4th member coming to Judgment Day. He's aired it on TV. Then he's put loads of different images on social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, probably on Facebook as well, but I never check on Facebook. We've seen the likes of Bailey, Ciampa, all sorts of names that have been thrown out there. I can't remember. I mean, even Corey Graves was one at one point. Do you see a 4th member? Because it's a perfect place to bring them in at a Premium Live event. It's happened on the last 2 Premium Live events that Edge has had another member to his stable. So could you see it happening here as well?
No, I can't. I wish I really want it to happen. Me personally, I think it should happen, but no, I don't think so. I think if the Hills are going to win here, like Judgment Day, it'll be via the method you said, which will be another person. Or the other option is somebody turns that's on the babyface side. The problem is once you do that, you're leaving the baby faces kind of short. But no, I don't think so. I think they did that last month. And as much as I'd love that, that's logical what you're saying. I just can't see them going through with it.
Quick question. If one of the baby faces was to turn, which one do you think would be the most fitting?
I'd like to see Finn Balor turn. I think AJ, to be fair, he's great as a heel, but Finn as a heel could be really, really fun. You could do the Demon Finn, as we said before on other shows. That's something they could go down. And yeah, I think sort of that's the route you go down. I think if you turn Liv Morgan, where do they go next? That's the trouble you're going to have. It can't be Liv Morgan because it doesn't really work for me.
No, we're back into the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament, I suppose, but Rhea now has broke away from that. It doesn't really make sense. So I agree with you. Balor would make the most sense. Like you say, he's got the credentials that would fit very well for Judgment Day as well. Would be a different side of his character. We're not really seeing on the main roster. So, I would totally be in favor of that. But just to go clarify once again your prediction for this match.
My prediction is going to be the baby faces. I think the baby faces will win.
Nice. We're going to go different for the first time. I think Edge always seems to remain one step ahead, and I think he will do to the closing of this feud. So I'm going to go for Judgment Day because it's the first time that they're all working as a collective unit, and I want them to remain strong. So kind of going more with hope rather than anything else. But I'm going to go for the Heels to pick up the victory. And I wouldn't be surprised if a 4th member came in. I have that feeling that Ciampa, I think, would be great because I love Blackheart Ciampa back in NXT back in the day. And he's just been so directionless on Raw so far. So it would give him some purpose. I've mentioned other names previously. I'd like to see someone like T-Bar. I think it would be great with him and Damian Priest as a tag team, for example. But what the member of who it would be remains to be seen at this point. But Judgment Day will be my pick. Anything else you want to add, Jonesy, before we go to the comments?
No, I think you nailed it. I think T-Bar would be a great choice. Would you like to see somebody like Mustafa Ali doing that heel turn? Obviously, I get he's in a match against Fury on the show, but do you think that could work, or would you just go with T-Bar if you're going to do that person?
Unfortunately, brand new. You cut off on the. For me, you cut off anyway on when you said the name. Who was it? Sorry, that you mentioned.
Mustafa Ali.
Ali. Yeah. Do you know what? He would be a great fit because obviously we've talked about this on the last one, and we said the idea that you could say now you can get your retribution, that idea that Edge can play with that sort of idea and ideology. I think it'd be awesome to see. But I'm looking forward to talking about Mustafa Ali actually because obviously he's got a match on this show, like you said. I don't think it would be here. It would not be the right placement, especially as the hometown hero. But then I suppose it's going to have its own dynamics as well with it. I don't know. But interesting stuff indeed there. But I mean,
yeah, I think. Sorry, Steve, you broke up.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I said, what would you think then with Mustafa Ali being a part of this group if it could happen?
He certainly could talk, can't he? He's got a great promo on him, but it probably wouldn't happen. I think Ciampa's much more likely unless they go to NXT for somebody, which never say never.
Never say never. Indeed, Haaland was rumored for this group apparently before
He
he was
was,
released. So interesting. Nubico says Judgment Day is winning, but I get the feeling Ciampa will be joining Judgment Day. So interesting there. Also seeing a possibility that we could grow that group even further. West Coast Podcast. Do you grow the faces as a stable and it should be added to Judgment Day? He would call up Joe Gacy after Saturday night. Joe Gacy would be an interesting proposition.
100%. I think that's a great shout.
Certainly is. The only thing with Joe Gacy, I kind of feel, is he feels like a leader rather than a follower. But I think certainly if he feels like he can be a decent mouthpiece in the group and all of them are getting time to talk, I think it could work. So, I mean, yeah, Joe Gacy, I think, is a very interesting shout. And should the baby faces become a stable?
It depends on where the longevity is of this. Like, if you want to go for another few pay-per-views, then yes. But I don't know. Like, I don't really want to bog AJ and Finn down in a stable. I think they're far too good. They're great singles wrestlers. Although Judgment Day needs someone to feud with, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this will continue into the long haul, but very interesting shout indeed. That I personally wouldn't have them as as a stable, just purely because I do think that they, like Jonesy said, they can do some great work individually as well. Jeff Samuel, when a house up doing well. Jeff says, I would call up Joe Gacy and join Edge this Sunday. So Joe Gacy seems to be a very popular shout. Yeah. He is indeed. Just to say, by the way, NXT, the predictions are on my channel now. So obviously stick with this one because we're live and we're doing this here. So watch us interact while we're doing this live. But afterwards, go and check that out because it's there for you for in your house this Saturday, of course, which would be in the, I guess, in the CWC or whatever they're calling it these days. Martin saying, I would have liked to see Liv, Styles, Balor, Rhea, Edge, and Priest mix up in a mixed tornado Hell in a Cell match. It would have fit nicely. I agree with you, Martin. I think it certainly would have been a lot of fun. West Coast says, great minds think alike, Jeff Samuels. So there you go. Quite a few people are feeling the same here. And as well, we've got Jeff Samuel, I think, on a second account, maybe. Thank you for giving us multiple checkouts at the same time. What match do you think will be announced on SmackDown tomorrow? We have covered this already at the beginning of the stream, Jones, so I'll take it for you. Jones has said the idea potentially of maybe Drew McIntyre getting on the card. Ronda versus Raquel could be a potential option. Certainly, Mac Moss and Happy Corbin can't be ignored. And one other alternative I'll just throw in there. I believe the Usos, Nakamura and Riddle are not announced for this show at the moment and will be competing on SmackDown tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. That certainly could be carried over as well. I would have loved to have had that match on the Hell in a Cell show, but currently still not announced. So let's see what will happen further down the line. But Martin is saying, do you guys see the babyfaces being a long-term faction? Unfortunately, we sort of cover that a little bit, but do you think it's just for the feud of Judgment Day, or do you reckon that there could be a way that maybe AJ and Finn go for the tag titles at some point?
I think it's just for this feud because they're obviously programmed with Edge. I think it's largely just this feud at the moment.
I would have to agree with that as well. Though I think AJ and Finn as a tag team at some point, just to break up if they've got nothing going on that division, could be interesting. Them
yeah, could be good. That'd be good. That'd be really, really good.
I think that'd be quite fun. Jack Haynes in the house as well. Hope you're doing well. Who are some of the 5 people you'd like to see this Sunday, in your opinion? Well, Jonesy, you give a couple and I'll give a couple.
I don't want to take your ideas. I'll give you a couple then. So the people I'd like to see, you've got to go with. I'd like to see Xavier Woods, because I think no one would think of that. He's got great promo, great charisma. I'd also like to see Madcap Moss. I know, sort of people in the comments are going to go crazy, but this guy, if he had a serious character, he'd be doing something. He could be really, really devious. And the last one I'd like to see, I'd actually go for Mansoor. I want to see him add some sort of different sort of character to him. We haven't really seen much of Mansoor. He's a bit of a comedy character, but I think he's got some great abilities. Just the character's really stupid that he's been given.
I love some of those suggestions, particularly the Moss and Mansoor ones there, because getting them to do something, I think, would be really cool. And just to add 2 of there, people have already heard it in this video, so I won't elaborate any further. Ciampa and T-Bar. Ciampa and T-Bar would be my 2 add-ons for that. Also, Jack goes on to say, I have a feeling that Ciampa can join Judgment Day. AJ and Finn recruit Mustafa Ali to continue the feud as well with Ali versus Ciampa. Certainly could be an option. We'll be discussing, though, an idea potentially of what will happen with Ali later in the stream because he's going for the United States Championship. Loads of comments, by the way, Jones. So we could be here for a short while getting through some of these. Martin says it feels a long time since we've seen more than 2 people in Hell in a Cell match. Certainly is indeed. Hopefully, it won't be too. is also in house. Hope you're doing well. Great to see you, by the way. It's been far too long.
He's coming back. He's coming back on Saturday, I believe. He's got a new video coming out on Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. It's a plug for you. We can't wait to see that, and definitely hope we can collaborate again one day, because certainly would be good to see. Silk in house as well. This evening, chaps. I can see Judgment Day adding a new member this Sunday to push like a champa. I think definitely seems to be a popular theme as well, along with Joe Gacy. Seems to be popular with others. Rick Red as well. And I've got Judgment Day winning. Thank you for sharing your prediction. Also saying that potentially could do Drew versus Sheamus for the last time in Hell in a Cell. What do you think? And also Usos versus Riddle and Nakamura for the tag team belts. I mean, that's we said. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that tag match added to the show, but Drew versus Sheamus seems like a logical way forward after finally the New Day and the Brawling Brutes feud hopefully ended last Friday on SmackDown.
I think it'd be a great match. Like chucking it in Hell in a Cell, like would be quite fun to see. But I think if they were going to do it, they would have put that all over TV already. To be fair, they'd have been pushing that down everyone's throats that it's happening. But we can wish. I don't see them doing that, unfortunately.
There we go. Sorry, I lost the last bit there.
Okay,
but,
I just all I said, Steve, I don't see them doing that, unfortunately. As much as it would be great to see.
It would be great to see, and maybe Drew versus Sheamus might happen at Money in the Bank, or maybe both being the Money in the Bank ladder match. Drew will need something to do all the way to Cardiff. So let's see. Silk says Nakamura Riddle, and it was probably added if they win their match tomorrow. They're ones that Steve loves. So there you go. Yes. As well, Rated R. It's got another comment. It will come up in a second. A tag team would be really good for Balor since they're so bad at booking him when he's not in NXT. Totally agree with that. I think that, Balor, I think, could do with a tag team partner. Like, Rated R's just said there. Let's not forget Extreme Rules last year, the awful booking of the Demon character. And he's not really done a lot since. I know he was a US champion, but he didn't do a lot during that reign.
Where he fell off the ropes with such momentum, and it was never explained. It's a shame though, because this guy, he could be like he could be one of the main focal points of challenges for Roman if he's pushed right, and they just don't do that. But that's another subject. I don't want to get into that tangent now.
Rick Red, I think he's got an obsession with hair, by the way. Wants us to go hair versus hair.
We're in a match. We've been booked. The commissioner. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we are not Ortiz or Chris Jericho, so I don't think that'll happen anytime soon. But I do love the suggestion nonetheless. But we don't put much stakes on this, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. Not hair.
Certainly not hair. It's precious these days when you get to our age. Honestly, you keep it as long as you've got it. Noob says here, Asuka would be a great fit for Judgment Day, and believes the character is.
I like that.
I like that as well. When she was like a Kabuki warrior, sort of Eve with the green mist and stuff like that. Yeah,
Kana would be fantastic. Like if they did that, like no one would see it coming either.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely indeed. Well, we were going to talk about this later in the stream, but it's been brought up as a question now. Martin says, what if the speculation of Bray Wyatt possibly coming back and appears in the ring after the match and attacks Seth? That would actually send shockwaves and help WWE in a big way. So what are your thoughts on that, Jonesy?
I'd love that to happen. I really want to see Bray come back or the Fiend come back, but it's just too good to be true, I think. I just can't see it, to be fair. Like, this would give WWE a shot in the arm. Clearly, Roman's missing at the moment a little bit. So I think I'd like to see that, but I just don't think they have the narrative to go back and do Seth versus Fiend. They want everyone to forget about their awful Hell in a Cell match. I just don't think they want that as a reminder. And I can wish. I think Bray may come back eventually, but I just don't see it on this show. I think it's going to be a SummerSlam or somewhere where they're in a stadium where he comes back. Being honest.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think a lot of people put the connection because it was the Wyatt 6 on Twitter, and it was 6 days at the time till Hell in a Cell. And
also the picture, if you turn it upside down, is the Fiend as well, which is a bit something's going on there, but I don't really know what.
No, it'd be interesting, and hopefully, as long as he doesn't control his narrative, I'm happy wherever he turns up in the end on TV. But we don't think it will happen, but certainly that would create shockwaves. Certainly when it comes to this Sunday. But one thing that creates shockwaves, but certainly for different reasons, is Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Now, I said this earlier in the stream already. I've enjoyed this a lot more than I had any right to do, Jonesy, if I'm being brutally honest with you, because I found it really entertaining. I love the Ezekiel Elias playoff of the fact that, there's a picture beside one another. I love that KO is losing his mind over it as well. The fact he's brought out for Academy, giving them TV time. We've had lie detector tests. We've had, lab testings as well. The only thing that I kind of disconnect with, and this is where I'm going to come to you, is when the bell rings with Ezekiel. Now, do you get invested in his matches as much as promos, or are you invested in any of it?
I think they've done a great job of rebuilding the character. The interest in Elias to Ezekiel has been done really well. It's a great comedy gimmick that's going on. I'm kind of enjoying that part of it.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to what they do. Kevin Owens, to be fair, is always great, and this is giving them something to do, which I guess is great in that respect. It's getting Kevin Owens on TV doing something, which is good to see. It's okay. I'm just interested to see when we get this Elias versus Ezekiel match, how they're going to pull that off if they do, or them together. And as I said, if they're going to get Damien Sandow in, I heard that Damien Sandow, apparently they're pitching that was pitched to bring Damien Sandow back in as Elias, which is just insane. But in terms of the match, back on topic, I think it's fun. I just hope Kevin Owens wins. Like, I just think it'll be a shame for him to lose it. I want to see him be a bit more serious. Like, this is great at the moment, but I'd like to see him go back to what he can do. This guy should be world champion one day again.
Well, he was in a WrestleMania main event a couple of months ago. I think this is where there is a slight disconnect with this feud a little bit, is that KO probably should be feuding with the people at the top of the card rather than people underneath. But obviously as well, someone with that momentum that KO has got coming off of WrestleMania, even though he lost, he's bringing in a character and bringing them up the card. So it does help in different ways. But I do agree with you. I think KO would be a great shot for Money in the Bank, for example. I think that would be lovely.
I'd take that. I'd like to see that. I really would.
That would be really, really cool. But I'm with you. I do think KO is going to win this match. But the question is, I mean, you mentioned the idea of Damien Sandow there, and I think, it would be ridiculous. It wouldn't work. But WWE might find a way.
They would try it. They would try it. They would try it, and they'll make it as if he's actually Ezekiel or Elias. I'll make sure exactly if it's that. But it's fun, and give WWE their credit. Like, I was quite harsh on this last month in our predictions for WrestleMania Backlash. They've done a great job of getting us interested in Elias as a character. And this shouldn't work, but it does work, which is amazing, really, to see.
It does. My only worry is actually, and we say about this feud moving on, KO going to bigger and better things, where does Ezekiel go afterwards? That I would worry
24/7 division, probably, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe it needs to hit a home run on this show, I think, for Ezekiel to be a long-term bigger deal in WWE. Obviously, he could be dancing around like Tensai was with Brodus Clay back in the day. So yeah, I made the 2012 comparisons earlier. I'm going to keep doing that. Don Mills in the house, he says, this is some real wrestle crap. This is Ezekiel storyline. Yes, wrestle crap it is, but sometimes it can be fun as well, can't it? I mean, obviously, Jonesy, there's some great wrestle crap that you've enjoyed back in the day. Obviously, the White Castle of Fear, was it, back in the day with Sting and Vader?
That was entertaining, wasn't it? And and Lily and all that other stuff. But no, definitely, wrestle crap has got a certain point in wrestling. But for me, in a dream world, Kevin Owens beats Ezekiel at the pay-per-view. We then get Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes at some point. That's kind of the program I'd like to go down. Although they're coming from a different place, Cody Rhodes is up here in the main event. Kevin Owens is kind of here. But in ring, it'll be fantastic if they do that at some point this year.
Absolutely, would agree with that 100%. Silk says, as much as Kevin Owens should be winning this, I can see Ezekiel winning. Ezekiel is over, and for me, been booked well since his return. That's the thing. Maybe he needs to continue that momentum. Maybe that's the idea. So I don't blame you for going for Ezekiel. I think he does need it this Sunday. But for me, I'm just going for KO just purely because of coming off of WrestleMania. If you're in that top match with Austin to then be losing this a couple of months later, you're going down a slippery slope from there, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. I think the thing with it, it's difficult. Like Kevin Owens in the main event of WrestleMania, yes, it was a great moment for Kevin Owens, but that rub that he's got from WrestleMania, I think it's gone anyway. Like he obviously he had that rub and it's kind of gone now, but he'll get back there. He's good enough to get back there.
Absolutely indeed. I mentioned the White Castle Fear, by the way. That was a stream that was done on Rated R for Wrestling's channel, which we did for Super Brawl 93, I think about a year ago. So make sure to check that out on his channel at some stage if you've got a free hour or so. He says, Ezekiel, I think, will go even further with this character, like really off the wall with it. Angle might end up working. So there you go. I mean, he's got confidence that this could be a long-term character that could work really, really well in WWE. And to be honest, really, I've been fine with how it's booked so far. I struggle to see where it will go next, but I'm definitely open-minded because I want to see it work for Ezekiel.
I want to see it work. I don't know if we're going to get the 3 faces of Foley, maybe, like with Ezekiel. I think eventually when he does flip out, he's going to flip later this year and probably turn heel, I presume. That will be when we get Elias again, and he'll blame the fans probably, which will be fun to see. But it's interesting how they keep it going. WWE with longevity storyline struggle. I'm just interested how they get themselves out of this to a certain point, unless they just drop it and Elias comes back all of a sudden.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Well, mention about Elias coming back here. How about this? Ezekiel versus Alliance is better than Undertaker versus fake Undertaker via SummerSlam main event. Gotta love that indeed there. 94 vibes. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
I'd get your ticket for that. Nashville,
Yeah.
you'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
Martin says here that KO forgot to ask the big money question and should break kayfabe and ask him if he played the role of Elias months ago.
Yeah,
What do you feel?
He should have asked him that, but the lie detector test proves that Ezekiel and Elias are two different people. We've not had them sort of in the same room together. They haven't done the whole Mick Foley camera tricks from 97, 98. We haven't seen that yet. It's something they could probably play on. Can you imagine what Ezekiel would have done if we were in the Thunderdome with no fans? Can you imagine what they would have done with this angle? It could have been amazing, to be fair. Even better.
I do think you're bang on the money. If that had been in the Thunderdome, it would have been so good. And I still think backstage they could try and do it. If they can take an old something of Elias to make it look where it works, they could do that backstage before the KO match, and KO would go even more crazy. So for me, I would love that to happen. I'm not sure it will happen, but in a way, should it happen? Because then maybe we can move on.
Maybe. It depends how long they can go. I can see Ezekiel becoming a merchandise hit, though, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. More than Ezekiel Jackson did back in the day. Yeah. But Martin says, if Ezekiel versus Elias would ever happen, would they have LA Knight with a wig and a beard and be Elias? It certainly could work, especially, well, it could have worked, but now he's Max Dupree going forward. What do you think of that character, by the way? I like it.
LA Knight's a great talker, isn't he? He can get anything over. My initial thoughts were, this is Rick the Model Martel 2022. I was like, oh my God, this thing could be great. But he's a good talker. So I hope it works for him. That's for sure.
He certainly can. He can make chicken S-word into chicken salad any day of the week. Jeff Samuel says Kevin Owens win, but I wouldn't on Ezekiel and Ezekiel controlling himself to calm down. I mean, that would be an interesting way as well. Like you say there, the idea if Ezekiel was to win and then KO carries his feud on with a beatdown after the match, certainly would be quite interesting how it would play out. And maybe, if there was a way an Elias could come in, that would be really, really fun. And a few people there with some fun suggestions. Last comment before we go on to our next match. Silk says that they will do it where you only see Elias from behind to get around it, and that is the only way they could do it. And interesting.
I have one last thing. Sorry, Steve, just before we move on with that one. I've got an idea for a booking scenario. This one. So, do you remember a couple of weeks ago we had Kevin Owens bring out his brother or his relative, whatever it was?
Yes.
Perhaps he can come out as the relative. He gets beat straight away as the relative. He goes. That he lost. It wasn't me. He takes his beard off or whatever, and then the match continues again. I wouldn't surprise if they do something like that to get the longevity out of it. But it's something they should do. Would it be entertaining to see?
It would be entertaining.
Imagine it. It'll get Kevin Owens' excuse to sort of get another match out of Ezekiel basically as well at the event.
Absolutely, indeed. There, we've got a couple more comments coming, so we'll quickly go through those. Rick Red saying pretty deadly and Max Dupree. I'd say yes, boy. I'd love to see that.
It could work, definitely.
Definitely could work. Martin says that since we're talking about the Thunderdome, what feuds from the Thunderdome would you guys like to see now and vice versa? Interesting question, that one there, James. Anything from the Thunderdome era that you say that you'd like to see now?
Just trying to think, put me on the spot now. I'd like to see the Brock Lesnar Drew McIntyre match. Like we obviously didn't really get that properly. We got it in the Thunderdome. I think that in front of fans could have been great. Really? What about you, Steve?
I think Drew McIntyre in any format of his championship run would have been great to see here. I think his feud with Orton could have been fun in front of fans as well. I think that's a big shout. I think Bianca Belair and Bayley as well would have been one I'd like to have seen now in front of fans, and hopefully we'll get that when Bayley does return. And some feuds now that would have seen then. Well, obviously this one is Ezekiel and Kevin Owens. I think fits really well. Ezekiel Kevin Owens in the Thunderdome, as we said earlier, would be awesome. Is there any other ones that now you think would work better in the Thunderdome?
I'm just trying to think. Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss, maybe. Like I'm joking. I don't really. To be fair, I'd have to go back and look. The Thunderdome seems like so long ago. Like, I'm being honest.
It does. We're nearly a year. It's gone.
My memories of the Thunderdome are just retribution and kind of other things like that, like craziness and like Raw Underground and stuff like that. I'd like to see Raw Underground come back, but that's not really a feud. It's not really what you asked.
No, but certainly it would be interesting now. I mean, for me, I wasn't a fan of Raw Underground, but certainly it would be different if it's in front of fans than they did it in a different way. Could be interesting. West Coast said they should purposely use the old parent track from 1961 to show Elias and Ezekiel backstage together. It will look bogus, but it would be fun. And I think you're bang on the money there. Alyssa Stansbury also with a comment here. I'm thanking Alyssa for checking out the stream. Think Seth Rollins' style as a heel needs a change after Cody Rhodes after 3 times. Can't stand Seth Rollins. Something new, and Cody Rhodes are better not lose. We'll tell you what, you're in time, Alyssa. We've not got to that match yet. We will be discussing it later in the stream with our prediction, but and we'll also talk about Seth Rollins and what he will do next if he needs any changes or not. But what we will do in the meantime is we will go to match 4, and he's already been spoke about during the stream. Mustafa Ali going to be challenging for the United States Championship in his hometown against Theory, the champion. Now, for me, I'm going to say that I think this is like Theory's first proper program. I don't think he's had a lot of time to establish himself as United States champion as of yet. But at the same time, I would say that I'm not as gripped as I thought I would be with Theory as US champion. But I also feel that the mid-card on both Raw and SmackDown is lacking a bit at the moment. And with the way that the story has played out, I think that they've done the best of what they can do here with Mustafa Ali and Theory. But Mustafa Ali wasn't on TV this time, a few weeks ago for about 6 to 8 months. He wanted out with WWE, had requested his release and stuff like that. Didn't get it granted. So what are your thoughts with Mustafa Ali coming back and having this program with Theory for the United States Championship?
I think from an in-ring perspective, this match is fine, but I've not liked the build. They've made Mustafa Ali look like a total jobber. Like he's been jobbing the whole way through this feud to get to number 1 contendership. I don't really understand how we're at this match. And for me, Theory, yes, is quite entertaining. I just think like they threw this away on Raw on Monday where we've already seen this match, and I'm just not a fan of it really. I think Theory really should have come down a little bit, and Ali should have had more momentum going into this match. It doesn't seem like a very even match to me.
No, I mean, obviously, Mustafa Ali won the championship contenders match against Ciampa, didn't he? And then Theory did the beatdown afterwards and said, "Well, you get your championship match now." And obviously, then he easily overcome Mustafa Ali. But obviously, now it's going to be a fair fight because Vince wants a fair fight.
It's more a case of the beatdown. Like Theory's continually beating down Ali, it seems quite regularly, and it's just like sort of you want to see the contender at least going on even. I think in ring it'll be fine, but for me, it's just kind of this is just a throwaway match, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, to me, the question I was going to ask is when Theory learned that he was going to have to do a fair match, he didn't seem that bothered. He was like, yeah, my arse, you're going to be US champion. Like, he didn't seem bothered at all.
I think, as you said, there's a shortage of decent mid-card stars that make it a bit difficult. But Theory, to be fair, he'll be a great United States champion. The sky's the limit for him. We just need to see him sort of have that magic that he had at WrestleMania where he connects with the crowd, really. I don't think he's connected as much. The selfie thing is fun, but it's just a bit limited for me. I think this is just a throwaway match, really.
Interesting. Well, let's go to the prediction then. Who have you got?
I'm going to go with the champion, Theory to retain it. I don't see him changing the belt, unfortunately. What about yourself?
So my prediction is going to be... Now, WWE usually like to make their hometown heroes lose a lot of the time, but I think they're going to go for the Chicago Pop. I think Ali's going to win the belt.
That's a big prediction.
But here's the prediction I'm going to give you. He's going to lose that championship either on the next night on Raw or a week or two after. I think that the United States Championship is going to go for a hot potato throughout the summer of 2022 with these two having almost like a Razor Jeff Jarrett feud. We've been using a lot of nostalgic pops here or nostalgic references. That was going through 94, 95, wasn't it? So that's going to be my prediction. I think Ali is going to get the hometown pop on Sunday and he could drop the championship as soon as Monday. So that's going to be my pick there for you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a brave pick in that respect. We're on different opinion, but either way, I think hopefully they both move on and do something better after this match.
We'll have to wait and see how it will go down. Silk says, Ali in his hometown? Yeah, he's already lost. Vince loves booking a hometown hero to lose. And of course, maybe you might want to stick it to Chicago after Chicago's own won a championship in a different company, which we will try not to mention too much more on the stream. I've done it twice already. Lisa says that Cody Rhodes shouldn't book 50-50's biggest challenge Roman Reigns. Okay, I'm going to try and get through that. Obviously, perhaps shouldn't be going against Roman Reigns at this stage. Well, we'll have to wait and see what will happen. Obviously, Cody's just got back.
Yeah, I think what Lynch is trying to say is ultimately that Cody Rhodes should be losing matches if he's going to challenge Roman down the line, which I kind of get that totally. I think that makes total sense. He's Roman's biggest challenger probably to come other than Drew, I'd say. So that's probably quite logical, really. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. And certainly now, when you mentioned that, definitely got a better idea of what you said there, Alicia. And I mean, Cody probably shouldn't be losing, but will he lose or do we think he'll lose? we're getting there very soon. We're a couple of matches away now. West Coast Podcast says, Silk nailed it, and Steve's hot potato prediction sounds about right. So, yeah, we'll see how it's going to play out. But certainly, we'll see what will happen. But let's go into our next match, shall we? Because, well, we've got 2 more to go, and we're going to go with one I know that Jones is going to love talking about. It is the handicap match. Bobby Lashley taking on Omos and MVP. Now, of course, the last premium live event between these two, Bobby Lashley lost, didn't he, due to MVP's interference. We had the match of WrestleMania, which, of course, Bobby Lashley initially won. That led to Jones's prediction that came true with MVP joining Omos. We then had a steel cage match on Raw, and Bobby Lashley won that, being thrown through the cage and then just landing on the floor. And then MVP won a match against Bobby Lashley via DQ, if I'm not mistaken. And he got to pick the stipulation, and he made a handicap match, something that I've been plugging for a little while now. And we've got it on this show. But Jonesy, I'm going to let you have a potential rant session here, because if there was one comment you said to me after Raw this week was, I'm sick of Bobby Lashley versus Omos. The floor is yours.
I'm just kind of bored of it. How many times can I do this match? We had it at WrestleMania. We had it at WrestleMania Backlash, and it's just one of them feuds. If it was a great feud and it told a good story, fine. But I feel sorry for Lashley. He's gone from being a world champion. He's now babysitting Omos every single month, it seems. And yeah, it's just, you didn't see Stone Cold Steve Austin babysit Kurgan back in the day, did you? Let's be fair. I know they're totally different tangents of people. I totally get that.
Still, though.
Yeah, I just think I'm just kind of sick of this match. I think it's yes, I get Omos is getting some sort of rub off MVP and Bobby, but I just want Bobby to go back to where he was, because he was so over at one point before. I don't know what your thoughts are, Steve.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Bobby Lashley was a top guy. He was WWE champion last year. He was someone in contention. In fact, he was WWE champion this year. He lost the Elimination Chamber. He should be going against the likes of the people that stopped him having that championship. He's had a long feud now of Omos. This is where it needs to end. They can't go any further with this. I'm even going to rush my prediction in, because I don't think there's too far to go with this. We've even done the arm wrestling match. There's nowhere else to go. MVP is in this match because it protects Omos in defeat. So I'm going for Bobby Lashley to pick up the victory, despite the odds being against him. Jonesy.
I'm with you. I think Bobby Lashley to win. He has to win this. This is the feud ender, hopefully. Even though they've had all these bells and whistles to Omos by giving them MVP and stuff like that. We need this to be done. Free Bobby. I'm starting a campaign. I'm going to tweet it. Free Bobby. Yeah, mate, it's just not good. It's been really, really brutal. And I don't remember such big guys getting so many chances. Like, this guy's had so many chances, Omos, and it's just a joke. Like, how many chances has he even had before WWE realized that this guy should be a 24/7 wrestler? Not in there with Bobby Lashley.
No, I've just had a really horrible fall. Mustafa Ali winning the championship, the United States Championship, and then losing it to Omos the next night on Raw.
Oh my God! To be fair, that's not as bad as what we thought earlier in the year. We thought there was a chance that Bobby and Omos could have been at WrestleMania for the world title, and Omos was going to win the world title. Thank God they pulled the plug on that one.
Thank goodness. I think the things for Omos, he will hopefully not be on premium live events for the meantime.
I feel sorry for him. Like, I get that he's trying the best he can, but the quality of the matches don't get any better. And it's just not the best, is it, really, to be fair? It's just sort of, he shouldn't be on the pay-per-view. When you've got a pay-per-view where you haven't got people such as Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns, not on this show, Omos is on every show, it doesn't make any sense to me, like every pay-per-view.
No, I can hear you out on that one. And I mean, like I say, I think he will take a break from premium live events. I can't see him being Money in the Bank, for example. I can see Bobby Lashley going for the contract. Yeah. That certainly is a plausible thing of where they could go with the direction after this. But for me, I think Omos has got MVP as a mouthpiece, can build him back up. Lashley has to win this match all day long. So let's go into the comments and see what people have got to see. Silk's immediately in this with one. This is the toilet break match. Yeah, this is kind of the reason why I left this so late in the stream, because of the fact that we could get through. They're talking about that match early. West Coast Podcast says, free Bobby. Jonesy, spot on. I totally agree with that indeed. Martin says, I'm so confused on the matter that Ciampa was attacking Ali from behind and Ali didn't bother. He was only focused on Fury, so it all feels very odd. And of course, that was the last match. Totally agree with a lot of that of what you say there. Martin also going to say that Omos is still not good yet in the ring. They rushed his career too soon. It feels like Lashley is carrying him in these matches, and they should have waited longer. His personal opinion. And I think we've covered it sort of a little bit, but we agree with Martin, don't we?
100%. I think the thing is, like, I have no problem with Omos to a certain point, like in matches on pay-per-views. Where I have the problem is when you've got so little contenders for the world titles, you've got so little people at that level that are main eventers at the moment in WWE. You're having to take from that pool of the main eventer and get Bobby and just surround him with Omos. Just he's stuck with him every single month. And if this was a one match at WrestleMania, yes, you get a rematch at the pay-per-view after, fine, but they should have moved on to something else. Like, you know what I mean? They should have figured this isn't working. Why not do something different?
Absolutely. Well, I can't see where else they go after this. The only way they could have gone is put it in the cell, and thank goodness they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, I think this will be the last stop, thankfully, for this feud. Noob saying Lashley winning. I'm tired of this feud. This is way worse than the Carmella Asuka feud 4 years ago. Yeah, that was a painful feud, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that back in the day. That went on far too long as well. We're pretty much then wrapped up with that, and Alicia is going to be very happy because it is main event time. That's right. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, going against Seth freaking Rollins in not once, not twice, 3 times this feud. The rubber match in Hell in a Cell. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the one cell match on the show. And I think before we even go into the feud and give our predictions and such, I want to ask the question to you. This match, in my opinion, feels like a Hell in a Cell match. A lot of years previously now, people just get thrown in the cell for the sakes of it. And also, we only have one cell match on this show rather than 2 or 3. Is this better, or should we have had more?
I think we should have had more. Like, you don't want to water them down, but you should have had a couple of other matches. I think the women's match could have been a Hell in a Cell as well. This does feel like a Hell in a Cell match. And I don't get me wrong, I'm really excited. I think the match is going to be fantastic. My only complaint is it's not very even, is it? It's not very open. This feud, to be fair, Cody's beaten 2 pay-per-views running now, and it's I think for a feud ender, Steph's really going in as the underdog, isn't he? To be fair, like he's not going in as the favorite at all in any way. And I think it's okay. I'm just hoping that this will be done. Like, I really want this feud to be done. Or even though in ring it's going to be fine, this to me feels like a match I've seen. Even though you put the Hell in a Cell element in it, it makes it slightly different. I just feel like I've seen this so many times. These two already face each other.
Oh, I can understand that. I mean, the thing is, the element of the 3 matches that we've got, obviously the first match was the surprise element, so Seth was unprepared.
That wasn't a proper match. I appreciate that. That was
the second time round, he held the tights, so he didn't win fairly, even though Seth had done his homework on Cody. Yeah. So it feels like this time it's all or nothing for Seth. There's no excuses this time round. Obviously, yes, the tights can be pulled again, but anything goes in these matches. You're prepared that can be a factor. And Seth sometimes does his best work when his back is against the wall. And Cody's got, in my opinion, this is obviously going to be the main event. This is proof in the pudding that Cody is going to be a top guy in WWE. He's got the blonde hair, so it's perfect for a bit of blood if they want to bring it in there with the red chamber. I've got to just remember it's a red blimmin' cell, isn't it? They're not got the old school Hell in a Cell. So we're watching too many retros. But at the same time, I think this could be a really, really good match. Let's not forget Seth Rollins had a great match against Edge in Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia last year. So I
think it'd be great in ring. In ring, it'll be really, really good. Like, let's not doubt that. In ring, it'll be fine. I just wish WWE used their brain and made this a number 1 contendership. Let's have a stake here. Let's have something at stake. Whether it be someone has to have their haircut or something like that, something different, right? Instead of just having a Hell in a Cell match and then that's it. It just doesn't seem to be sort of Seth. In order for Seth to give this rematch, there should have been some sort of stipulation. I think. To be fair,
certainly. I don't think
that's just what I feel.
I don't think we should put on Rick Red's hair versus hair stipulation anymore. No. That frightens me. At the same time, though, like you say, number 1 contendership would work really, really well. But there was a part of this feud, actually, just this past week on Raw, where we really blurred the lines a little bit. Obviously, Seth Rollins has made references to Dusty on this build as well, but mentioned the idea that Cody went with his friends and tried to tear down what Seth Rollins was building. It's the closest reference we've had to AEW being thrown at Cody Rhodes since coming back into WWE. And then they had a really fantastic pull-apart. Usually I get bored with pull-aparts in the modern era. I think it's been far overdone in wrestling, but I think it really was appropriate because no one was on top going into the show, this pay-per-view here on Sunday. I really liked it. What was your thoughts of Seth Rollins bringing up the tease of AEW?
I think it's great to do that. I'd love to see them play more on that. Like, let's cross the boundary. Wrestling's best at its best when there's that question about reality, isn't there? When reality gets thrown into it.
It certainly is indeed. Then we may, if we have a little bit of time, touch on one other reality based from a different company. But what we'll say then, obviously, Jonesy, is I guess it's prediction time because Seth Rollins has lost 2. Will he lose 3 in a row, or will he get the ultimate decisive victory? Probably where it counts most here, because obviously the last match is the one where, he'll go on to bigger and better things. Or will he go insane going into Money in the Bank?
I think Cody gets the hat trick. I think Cody wins this. I think this will be very hard hitting. I expect them to get a lot of time, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do here. I think this should be fun. And yeah, this will free Cody up to go for the Money in the Bank briefcase next month, which I think he's going to be a front runner for. I'll say that already.
I think there's certainly a good opportunity with that. I'm going to go for Cody to do the hat trick as well. I went against Cody at the last show. I think they would do the 50-50 booking and that Cody would actually win the rubber match. Well, I think at this point, if Cody was to lose, I think it would be, as Alyssa said earlier, it wouldn't be good to do 50-50 booking. If he's going to go on to challenge Roman at some point or win a Money in the Bank, I think now is the time to keep Cody strong. It's at an important point, and it's shown the strength of his booking right now of how they've been doing it with him, that they're doing the right thing and making him into a top star that's coming to the company. So for me personally, I completely agree with that, and I agree with you, Jonesy. I say Cody Rhodes wins here at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. And of course, he's been in one cell match previously as part of Legacy. Didn't win that one, so I think he will win this time, and then WWE can actually make reference of it going forward. So Silk has got some comments here for us. Says Cody wins. Also says Seth wins Money in the Bank. Then he says Seth screws Cody against Roman. Cody wins the Rumble. And then Cody wins at Mania. A story that goes from Mania to Mania. I think that certainly is a great bit of fantasy booking there. Certainly is a bit of direction with all those characters. Would you like to see that play out?
I like it. I think it's a great backup plan if they can't get the Rock back for Mania next year. That's for sure. I think it's really good, though. Really good longevity.
Absolutely, it definitely has got some longevity in there. They do like to do some of the storylines from near now, and they did mention about WrestleMania before, even though now it's going to an arena rather than a stadium. It's certainly be good if we can keep the continuity in that. Silver says, with the first two matches being really good, there is a concern that we may be overhyping this and it may be under-delivering. Probably not, but it's a possibility. Do you reckon that we are perhaps all feeling, because there have been two fantastic matches so far, that this is somehow with the Cell going to be even better? Because sometimes with Hell in a Cell matches, the Cell doesn't always come into play in the PG era. People say that the older ones are better. So does Silk have a point?
Well, it's a fair point. I think this will be fine, though. I think the fact that this is the main event, these guys are both incredible in the ring. Cody, since he's come back, hasn't put a foot wrong. Like, he's been booked so well. I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do this. I think this will be fun. And I'm just interested to see sort of how they bring Seth out of this feud with any credibility.
I think Money in the Bank is going to be one of them. And just think as well, Seth and Becky being completely bonkers, both losing their minds, but they cannot win matches. It could be quite fun then to see them as a dynamic on camera together.
Yeah, it could be fun. I like that, Steve. That could be really, really good.
I'll have to see how it will play out. Marta Guerrero says, when I look at this feud, there was no reason for Cody wanting to have this match with Seth. He has already beaten twice, but anyhow, hope this settles it and it will be a good match. And yeah, I mean, Cody more or less said at the point that he didn't need the match, but he was always, I suppose, it's that babyface mentality, isn't it, of always accepting it, I guess.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
I mean, he's actually been a superb babyface. Obviously, it's not mentioned when Seth actually stole the strap of the American Nightmare from the fan, the kid at the front row, and actually whipped Cody. I wish he'd done that more than once, actually. I think that would have had more dramatic effect. But Cody, when he got up, managed to still give the belt back to the fan. I thought that shows us the symbolism of what they think of Cody as a babyface. They're really going to try and push it all the way with him, aren't they?
Yeah, he's the natural opponent for Roman, isn't he? Let's be fair. So they need a good babyface and strong babyface, and that's what Cody will be.
Absolutely. Martin's come up with a gem of a comment here, by the way. What if Seth comes out in Young Bucks type gear to mock AEW and also Cody in a way? Love it.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be absolutely hilarious.
And Cody has been always, on point with his outfits a lot of the time in the last year and a half or so. And in fact, even at the last one, WrestleMania Backlash, he wore his WrestleMania gear, didn't he? So let's see what he does here. He'll have something up his sleeve.
I like that. I really do.
I do as well. So that's pretty much the predictions covered there for Hell in a Cell, because there's 6 matches and we've covered all of them. So yeah, Jonesy, I think on a scale of 1 out of 10, how good do you think this will be?
I'm going to go 7 out of 10. I think in ring it's going to be fine. I just want us to get some more derivative narrative storylines out of it. I want us to see some more sort of storylines for the future months. I think last month WrestleMania Backlash, the thing with Rhea Ripley being unveiled, that was really, really good. They're building stuff. Let's get this let's get some more storylines on the road to Money in the Bank. My only concern really is the fact that this is another pay-per-view where the world title isn't defended. And I think WWE have done a really awful job in defending the world title since WrestleMania. I just think it's been really badly handled.
They seem to have lacked direction, haven't they, with it? They seem to have been booking on the fly, not really knowing what they're doing with it. And now Roman's a part-time guy as well. It does seem a shame that he's not on this show. But I suppose at the same time, if him not being there was a chance for other people to main event. Obviously, like we said, that Cody and Seth could do so. I mean, the women haven't main event the show for quite a while, so that would be quite nice to see as well. But do you think that it would be wise to get Roman back for Money in the Bank?
I think they should. Like, the thing with it is, I just think it was silly putting 2 belts on him in the first place. Like, even when Brock was champion, he was there like sporadically. There's still another world title we saw every month. And if you compare it to the world title picture in AEW, CM Punk, Hangman, Adam Page, they've got MGF. They've got so many people in AEW that could be world champion or have a world title match. It's just disappointing for me for WWE. I really thought that they would do something this year to try and get that division a bit stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, the difference though with excuse me, we'll stop this out there.
Right.
The only difference, I guess, is that we have 2 brands rather than one. AEW is a whole roster under one roof,
Yeah,
and if
so.
WWE did that, I suppose it would be better. But you, at the same time, though, it is what it is. But fingers crossed, we will get a situation. We will get a situation into that. But we've got a couple of questions here, and we'll start with Martin's one here because it's Roman related. It says, aside from Roman, what other feud can intrigue fans into a Cody Rhodes run? I'm going to say one name for you. I'm going to go with a legacy feud here. Randy Orton. That would intrigue me.
My one would be Edge. I'd like to see Edge and Cody Rhodes. Edge can really play on dusty roads, and they can really he can really be kind of evil and stuff like that. I think he could do some great stuff in that match.
Certainly would love that. I'll give another idea. This is a fantasy booking idea a little while ago. I never got it into video properly, although I have mentioned it sporadically in live streams where I can. If Gunther was to win one of the mid-card championships, and try and make it the European Championship, to sort of take up. Maybe instead of the United States Championship would make a lot of sense on the Raw side, and then Cody would have a reason to go in that feud to, be the American Nightmare, but also the pride of the USA. I think that would be quite a fun feud to see.
I've got one other as well. I like what you said. The other one I've got is Braun Breaker. I think that would be really, really good. I think Braun Breaker, they go back to the Steiner legacy and stuff like that. The Rhodes were always a wrestling family. The Steiners always a wrestling family. It could be good to see, and I think in ring it'll be fun. It'll be really hard hitting.
I would like that. I think it would be good. And like you say, there with the idea of the link of Rhodes and Steiner as well. Yeah, really, really fun. And speaking of Braun Breaker, Hell in a Cell or NXT 2.0 in your house, which show seems more must see?
Hell in a Cell, like the main event in the NXT show, is just a throwaway for me. Sorry to say that.
I would say Hell in a Cell is more of the must-see of the 2 shows. I would agree with you. But I would say that Cameron Grimes and Carmelo Hayes could also be one of the best matches of the weekend.
That'd be a fun match.
Certainly. And pretty deadly against the Creed brothers are quite excited as well. But if I'm going to give a good answer as best as I can, I'm going to say that when it comes to prediction videos, both of them, because I've got both on the channel now. You'll see this one now, and afterwards, then there's always the NXT in your house predictions. Silk says, great show, fellas. Happy to finally catch a predictions video with you both in. Thank you, Silk, as well, for checking it out. And just before we do depart you, we may have one further topic. Jones, if you've got 5 minutes to talk about it.
Yeah, of course, let's do that.
Absolutely. Well, just before we do, I'm just going to let you know people what's coming up on SCW over the next few days. And I say, if you've enjoyed this video, then please do consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Leaving comments as well, especially if you're on demand as well, your predictions for this show. And what's coming up, as I said there already, NXT in your house, match kind of predictions. As well, people watching it, not giving likes, can real ones go out and please drop a like on this video as well. Help it get the algorithms. And as well on this video as well, if you can also. Tomorrow on the channel is SCW Rewind. Armageddon 2000, the retro review, going to be joined by Non-Stop Wrestling Chat. You can see the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. It's never been done since. We'll be reviewing it tomorrow. And coming off the cusp of yesterday, yes, the Summer of MJF, a fantasy booking video coming from me, how MJF will be booked in 2022 in AEW, which of course brings us to that final topic very, very quickly for the ones that are still with us. MJF, of course, the big situation over the weekend, has now had arguably the best promo of the last decade, probably since the pipe bomb from CM Punk. Just going a little bit of detail for those who may have missed it. Of course, MJF, of course, was not a part of the meet and greet on Saturday for Double or Nothing. Did turn up on Sunday just before the show, then had his match where he was squashed by Wardlow, was carried out on a stretcher, left pretty much immediately afterwards of the show as well, didn't stick around throughout the whole evening. We thought we'd hear him speak on Dynamite, and my goodness, when he came out and said his words, did they deliver? He addressed the situation of the contract unhappiness, how he wants to be fired from AEW, doesn't want to be there anymore. People in the back, he addressed them backstage, said, look, those people, if you want my spot, you can have it. I don't want to be here. Those people those ex-WWE guys who are coming in being paid more money than me, who can't even get over like I can. The reason he doesn't do all these big sort of flippy moves and stuff when the fans saying he can't wrestle, is because he doesn't need to. He can make you feel when all those people in the back can't do so. He can make you feel like nobody else is in the top 2 of the demographics. How we know it's a work shoot. Hello to the executives in the crowd. He was top 2 of the demographics of the ratings of when he's on the TV screen. And of course, then he addressed Tony Khan himself, saying he's making the company so much money. Like I said, he's the second top guy there, but yet it's not reflected in his paycheck. You wanted to sit down and hash this out. It's too late. I want to leave. Fire me. And of course, he wasn't getting his way with emotion and stuff beforehand. He made sure to say, "You effing mark" to Tony Khan. And of course, that point, the mic was cut off, the lights were cut out. We hit to commercial and we come back. And just to make it as work shoot as possible, they didn't mention it anymore. They wanted to be blurred the lines that we can't mention that on our TV screens. Jonesy, it was divine. It was perfect. It was 10 out of 10. Give us your thoughts.
I thought it was fantastic. I think these are really the best angles where you're going into reality. I really love what they've done with MJF. I think his promos this year have been absolutely outstanding. I didn't really like what he did the weekend by no showing the fans. I thought that was pretty bad, but this was a fantastic way to get the fans back on his side. I think this is great. My only slight concern with this, I'd say, is that if the whole point and the whole narrative of this is to try and get MJF more over to be a superstar. Apparently, he doesn't need this. He's a superstar already. Unless he's signed another contract with AEW, you don't want to make him a megastar to then go to WWE. And I'm really interested to see where they kind of go with this. I think, is Tony Khan going to be the new Vince McMahon? Is this Vince versus Stone Cold again? And on the counter, I'm just really looking forward to what they do with this. I think MJF, when he's talking, it's just different level altogether. And this was just really, really good. Even though it's a tool to bring up ratings, I really kind of enjoyed what they've done. It's been phenomenal.
Absolutely, no, I have to agree. It was phenomenal. Like you said, this can go so many different directions from this point. Fans didn't know whether they were believing in what he was saying. They were cheering him at points. You know, this had pipe bomb-esque feelings. You know, you could talk about some of the most important promos of all time. The pipe bomb from 10 years ago. We talk about Austin's classic 316 back in the days when Austin was a heel when he did that as well. Punk was a heel. They ultimately had to turn him babyface further down the line. It's interesting to see where it will link to and where it will go next. Like you say, Tony Khan could be the new Vince McMahon. It could be like that Austin, you know. CM Punk was meant to have come out. There's video footage that was going around on Twitter. I saw it on the
He did come out. He came out and got rid of it. He chased MJF off, which is probably going to lead to a match, I presume.
I assume it will lead to a match. And everyone says the Summer of Punk.
Yeah, Summer of Punk again. I think the thing with this is really, really good. Is it just makes MJF look even more of a megastar. This guy's going to be in Hollywood one day. You can just see the guy with the promos and stuff like that. The only thing I would say, Steve, is I really would love to see more of the commentators saying, "Get the mic off him, shut him down, shut him up." There wasn't enough reaction to that. And what I would like to see is if MJF does start turning up, let's make the commentators say, "Who is this man? He shouldn't be in here." All this sort. They really need to sort of make out like they don't want him in the arena and stuff like that. But this is it. This is week one. Let's see what they do with it.
I said there's so many different directions. You can suspend him. You can make him go against the people he said he's better than. You can do everything with this. It's so much fun here. And ultimately, I do think if you give my prediction at this early stage, I do think he's going to be a next AEW World Champion.
Oh, yeah,
I mentioned a second ago, you know, Summer of Punk, it's going to be literally for the summer. I don't think Punk is going to be a champion for 6, 9, 12 months. I think MJF is taking that belt and he's taking it very soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a sensible thing. And yeah, if he hasn't signed the deal, 2024, the auction war that's going to happen, this guy in WWE, if he's allowed to do what he's done in AEW and stuff with these sort of promos and the narrative of calling out WWE and saying that Tony Khan spent all the money on WWE cast-offs, the lines are brilliant. Even though Tony's approving them, I think the lines are absolutely sensational.
They absolutely are indeed. And like we said earlier in the stream, when you sort of blur the lines, it can make some absolute magic. And this was magic. And obviously, Sean Ross Sapp did come out and say apparently that the stuff that was on the weekend was true. That was genuine. What was being seen. Obviously, then you know, we've seen stuff since that now that they have had a sit down. Then they've managed to be more and more speaking terms. I don't believe anything's signed at this point.
Fair, like it's a narrative and that's been driven just to get out the ratings. I think. Like I don't think or any of it was true. Like I know Sean's really credible and stuff like that, but there's so many mixed sort of sources and stuff that are saying different things. Like it's difficult to know what's true and what's not true. But for me, I'm looking forward to what they're doing. They need to do more and more of this, and I think MJF taking over sort of Dynamite and sort of causing a scene and stuff is going to be fun to see in coming weeks, probably.
I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. And we mentioned Sean Ross Sapp. We're never going to know, by the way, what's true and not true from all of that. If it was all worked, if Sean Ross Sapp has, you know,
he's really credible. Sean Ross Sapp.
He's
probably tier 1 of credibility. but then you get Dave Meltzer saying something slightly different, and you hear different stuff from other sources. It's really hard to believe, know what to believe in.
Certainly indeed there. Martin here just says, before we close off the stream, was about to head out, but Sean Rossap has sent a tweet stating that MJF stuff is removed from the shop AEW. What are your thoughts, Jonesy?
You want to play the gimmick up? This is how you do it. This guy's going to be the modern day Brian Pillman, loose cannon. Yeah, this would fit the gimmick they're doing.
I totally agree.
I'm surprised
100%.
we haven't had a tweet from AEW saying he's fired or something, like storyline wise. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
I was expecting a suspension. I thought that could be something they could go down the avenue of, but we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to play out. It's exciting stuff. Let us know what your thoughts are about it. It's been a mini side topic at the end of this video here for Hell in a Cell predictions, but certainly let us know what you think in the comments below. And yeah, thank you everyone that's been watching. This has been Hell in a Cell predictions, a slice of MJF. Jonesy, thank you for being on the video.
Thank you for having me on, mate. I've really enjoyed it. And I'll catch you probably for Money in the Bank. Absolutely. Well, maybe we can get you for a review beforehand if you're free. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm away this weekend, but okay. We'll catch up at some point. We'll talk off air. Absolutely. Well, I hope you enjoy your time away the weekend. Thank you. And yeah, thank you everyone to be watching. See you soon. And yeah, if you get the opportunity, check out some of the other predictions, some of the other videos that are dropping on the channel right now. All the best. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.